What's up again, everybody? How's it going today? It's Carpo. It's the 1st of February, 2019. It's funny, I actually was going to make this video really quick just to get this point across and to get it out. Sometimes I make a video about research that I'm doing, and sometimes it's just a thought that's on my mind. And I've probably done 2 or 3 videos like this in the past about celebrity culture. And it's funny because I could almost, after 7 years of making videos, it's impossible to, not impossible to find a new subject, but you end up repeating yourself. And every time I start to do a video about a certain subject, I think, I've already done one of those. I'm like, but that was like 3 years ago. But anyhow, a couple years ago I did one on celebrity culture, and it's just one of the things that I feel that is a hugely destructive part of our culture, but also one that we probably won't get rid of anytime soon. Human beings naturally tend to look for somebody who is an authority on a subject. So, for example, we look up to people we respect. And I was thinking, who are my heroes? Because this goes into kind of that realm. And to give you an example, just like one person I've listened to in the past is Alan Watts, back in the day, for example. He's got so many great points to make, and he does it with a smile, and it's hard to dispute the validity of some of the teachings. But at the same time, he had his own problems and shortcomings like everyone does. And so it's not like I completely think of him as an authority on any subject. Manly P. Hall, for those who have been watching my channel for a while, I was really into Manly Hall back in about 4 years ago. Listened to pretty much every one of his lectures, and I was, for the longest time, I'd take quotes. I have this whole book full of like timestamps and stuff so I can go back and re-listen to things. After I'd been listening to him for about a year, I realized that's great. He's an authority on some subjects, but he's also, I don't agree with him on a lot of things. So I use that as an example because these are people who are actually teaching things. And we have a lot of teachers out there that we look to for authority. But for some reason, people think that they can look to celebrities as authorities. We're talking about movie stars, musicians, and another one I was thinking about, artists and galleries. You know, you have these rich pricks who have a bunch of money to spend, and they don't want to buy a painting they like. They want to buy a painting from the hottest artist right now. And there are people out there who actually buy art based on whether the artist is popular or not. And they may say, oh, it's an investment, and many times it is. But the point is that we're not looking at art for what the art is. We're looking to the person that painted it, or the person that drew it. And there's so much pretentious bullshit in that whole realm. But same within music and movies. Now here's the thing, back in the day you could be, if you were a movie star, you'd worked your way up to your status. If you were a musician, you'd fought through the system. And today we have overnight celebrities, people who have just become a YouTube star, right? And this has led to, of course we've always had endorsements, from every one of us from when we were a kid. We'd see, basketball stars endorsing a cereal that they don't eat, or your favorite musicians, I use this poly grip for my dentures. They will endorse anything to make money. And the fact that it still happens, and just as much as it ever did, shows that people are still ignorant enough to believe that somebody is telling you the truth just because they are popular or well known. Today there's a new word for the YouTubers that do this, for example, or people on Instagram. They're called influencers, and influencer marketing is just absurd right now. Marketing companies are having a hell of a time because they will pay people up to $250,000 for a post. For example, there's a great documentary right now. There's actually 2 of them, I think, different ones, about the Fire Festival a couple of years ago that was supposed to happen in the, on this private island with all these, big ticket musicians, and it was supposed to be this awesome getaway where, all these people could go see these great bands, dance together and party. The dudes totally failed, but their promotion was based on just influencer marketing. They invited a bunch of models in, then they had them post about their experiences, saying, it's going to be the greatest, and then they paid, I think it was Kylie Jenner, isn't that her name? From what I remember, they paid her like $200,000 to $250,000 for one Instagram post talking about the festival. So we're talking big money going to people just to say something regardless of whether they've even been there or will go there or whether it's true or not. And to a lot of people, you might be saying, so what? It's just the way the world is. And I guess you're right, but I have to voice how absurd it is that we actually listen to people and their opinions just because they're famous. For example, a couple of years ago, I can't remember, I don't follow sports, but there's a particular basketball star who came out and decided he was going to support flat earth theory. And when he was asked to confirm on it, his response was something along the lines of, "It looks flat to me." And it's not just him. There are several other people within his, circle and other basketball players who were saying the same thing. So all of a sudden we have these guys at home thinking, oh my God, these guys are famous. They've got to know what they're talking about. I mean, do you think that any of these basketball stars sit at home and research these things before they make a claim? No, they're like everyone else. They have limited time to understand things, and they say what they say. If somebody on the street said the same thing, you'd just be like, whatever, but the fact that somebody famous say it, And I grew up in the time of reality shows beginning. So I watched The Real World I never watched the show. I don't even think I've ever watched an episode. But I remember when it took over MTV and it just became reality shows. And I thought, what is this crap? This is so obviously fake. But people loved it because it was real. But then you find out that it's not real. They're all staged. Every single reality show out there is staged to some extent. And yet people believe it. And they follow these people. And I've never understood, speaking of the Jenner, why people can become famous just merely for being famous. And it's a strange world to live in, where we pick these memes, these people that become these symbols of something. We need somebody else to worship and listen to their bullshit ramblings about things they don't even understand. So it's okay if we want to listen to others. But it's important not to take it for face value just because they have an opinion. Celebrities are more often than not idiots. Unfortunately, we're all idiots. I would tell you the same thing about me. Don't believe what I'm telling you just because I'm telling you. Cross-reference everything I say. But you'll notice that I'm very cautious when I'm dealing with numbers or intense subjects, because if there's no quick answer, then who am I to give one? What is my authority on the subject? Hell, I spend most of my spare time doing research and reading about things. And I think, with all the self-education I've done, I still feel so ignorant about so many things. And I have more questions than answers. I felt more sure about myself back then. As they say, greatest wisdom lies in knowing you know nothing. That just means the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know shit. But if I've spent this much time, and then I think about these, let's say a person who is in a position of power, somebody within a government, and I think, well, this person didn't spend the same amount of free time researching, let's say. Maybe they were just all in. Maybe they brag because they spent their whole life working 18 hours a day, and that's what they have to go on. See, that's great for you, but where are you getting your opinions and ideas? And that's the problem, is that we're getting them from other people. And we have to trust some authorities on subjects. Every one of us does. We can't get away from it. So the question is, what is the authority the person has that's making the claim? And if we can identify that, then we can see whether or not it's worth listening to their bullshit. So those are my thoughts on a little bit of celebrity culture. And I think it's more damaging than we give credit for. I think of myself as sometimes as a cynic, and I try to get away from that, but I can't. I don't really have any heroes. I kind of scoff at people who claim authority, and I've always had this question authority attitude. But that's what helps me learn. It's how I don't get established and stuck in one pair of boots, where this is the mud I tread in. So don't take anything I say for face value either. But I'm sure a lot of people trust me, and they tell me that they trust my opinion. But that's based on past interactions we've had. They know that I'm serious, they know that I'm honest, they know that I care about people and care about life, and that I'm not just here saying, hey, buy my products, buy my t-shirts, check out my merch booth. Although I've been considering maybe getting some t-shirts made for my channel. What do you all think? I was thinking about that 719 sign. It says or 15-minute free thinking. I don't know, my wife's like, that would make a cool shirt and it would help to support the channel. So it's an idea that popped up. I want to make my money and do my things honestly. And so when I see people out there just saying shit just to make money when they don't really stand behind it. You know, you just want to slap them. Talk to y'all later. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.